Good morning. This here is Eupatorus gracilicornis, which is a five-horned rhinoceros beetle dynastid or dynasty family. Um, these are very large beetles, as you can see, from Thailand, basically Indonesia, north. And so what I'm going to do is a quick pen of this. This one was hydrated overnight in a little Rubbermaid Tupperware thing where we can just kind of humidify the atmosphere and not actually have the insect in direct contact with moisture. But he sits on top of a layer of like wet towels and foam board. And then overnight, the humidity in the air will kind of leak into the muscles and the ligaments here, which will make them easier to articulate because they're very rigid, brittle as dried leaves when they're dry. This one's probably been hydrated for 12 hours, and so he should be pretty good to go. The first thing I check generally is if you can see here the antennas. Try to move them out a little bit, make sure they're not going to pop. These guys have small antennas. There are other families of beetles like longhorns that have huge antennas. But this is kind of like your flower scarab beetle, nectarivore kind of guy. And they generally have small little clubs. You can see 5 horns, 4 thoracic, and then 1 cephalic. Anyways, once he looks like he's ready to articulate, I'm going to start just moving his legs here. So again, his femur is a long segment, then the tibia, and then he'll have tarses, and then the tarses will end in a pair of claws. I don't know if I can get the camera to focus on that. But he's got 2 little tarsal claws there that we can spread out. This leg is good mobility. Same here. Just want to make sure. Sometimes you can hear a pop. That just means the ligament is giving way to the stress. Even if it was to come apart, beetles are like little Legos, so they're easy to glue. But he is pretty flexible, so he's going to be really easy to articulate. And for beetles, this is basically 50% already done. He's going to stay kind of in the position I move him into already. The only other thing I could do is I could lower this leg, put this one underneath, and if I wanted to, I could pop his elytra here, his wing case cover, and I could pull the wings out. I do like to do that on these a lot because they have nice big brass colored wings that go out to like 2.5, 3 inches. His I'm going to keep inside just to kind of showcase his nice burnished brown body here. And he's going to go in a display where he's going to be crawling around with some other bugs. So I'm not going to have him flying because in the display there will be some butterflies for the negative space. But he's going to be like on rocks and logs and stuff, so I don't need his wings out. The frame I'm making is probably only this deep, so I don't want him to take up too much of the space. Let me see if I can show you what the display looks like right now. There's nothing in it but the base material. So this is a fairly deep shadow box that I made out of poplar, and it's got some branches in it. It's got some things that are kind of interesting, and then right now it's empty. So, and it's about 3.5, 4 inches deep. What I'm really wanting to do is put a series of butterflies and beetles in it. I'll have the butterflies cover the white space, and then I'll have the beetles cover the little logs and sticks. And I'll pick colorful little blue beetles to go with the brown here, weevils, and maybe some metallic flying beetles, wood-boring beetles. But let's get him in a position that will be a little bit more natural than just a flat pose like this. Like this, he's pretty close to being done. If I just wanted to frame him by himself, kind of showcase the features of this species, like short legs, stout legs, longhorn, just kind of put him out symmetrically. But I'm gonna want him kind of crawling around, looking a little bit more interesting. So in this case, I'm gonna probably move some of his legs out in a slightly different way, give him a little bit more depth to him when he's crawling. So I'll have one leg down, one leg up. And to do that, I'm going to have to support his body to give him some space underneath. So I'm putting the pin underneath him, not actually in him. So it lifts up his abdomen and his thorax above the foam board. That gives him a little bit of space. So that one leg can go down and that other leg can be lifted up fairly higher. Let me do this a little bit here. Get a little bit more stability on the stream. Trying not to hit the camera so much, but it is just somewhat in the way. All right, so I want this leg to be outstretched. I want his claw to be coming out just a little bit more. So I'm gonna pin his tarsals down, kind of spread the little claws here just out a little bit, move that leg. I'm going to lock his horn down just a little bit. I'm going to take this leg and pick it all the way up so I can put my whole finger underneath it. Give him the kind of the illusion that he might be walking. Lower this leg all the way to the ground. And as the beetle dries over the next couple days, his ligaments will retain some of their strength. As they dry, they'll shrink, and then his body will want to like collapse like beetles and bugs do when they die. So what I want to do is make sure I have pins in the way, so when his leg actually tries to strain shut, it can't, and it'll just dry in position. So I'll have this one bend down a little bit, like he might be gripping for something, but I want those claws open, so I could still get my pinky under there, lots of space. And then lift this leg up like he was reaching. Turn his claws out so we can see them from above. Just like that. And so he's got some space. He's got some legs that are below his body, some above. And then at this time, I can wedge another needle over here, needle under here. So when I begin to rotate his other legs, there's a little bit of counterweight. So this one I want all the way down. Give him a little bit more of a walking pose. This leg is still up, but I rotated his body a little bit more than I wanted to, so I'm going to put it back, just like that. And now we're getting close to having him kind of marching along somewhere. This leg's high, this leg's real low, this leg is also high, easily get my finger underneath it. This leg is basically touching the paper here. The claws are definitely in the paper. So I'm gonna go ahead and make this leg touching the ground as well. And then with that, I'm going to want to raise it just a little bit this guy up here so you can see his little tarsal claws. I'm gonna, oh, that happens. They are brittle, like I said. But the good news is that when I pin him to the actual board, I'll just be able to plug this little socket back in the hole. And like I said, beetles are nice because when they fall apart, they're really just dislocating. And it's easy to fix. So I'll just pin it like I want it with the claws open there. Might be kind of hard to see from this angle if the camera wants to try to pick it up. Can't really quite show you. But I put a needle in there and wedged it open. And then his other foot will be not so close to the ground. We're going to lift the whole leg up, kind of out. Maybe even dramatically high. And same story here. I want to put a needle in between the claws and just give a nice little rotation. And then so I have the back leg kind of kicking out. This leg, oh, excuse me, I'll move the camera here a little bit for you guys. So, despite some of the difficulty with moving all of his legs, we got some high up, some touching the board, some raised. Again, on the other side, kind of doing a little bit of one down, one up, one down, one up pattern on them. Get this one touching, this middle leg's raised, this one's back down to touching on the grid. And the only thing left to do that's kind of hidden for the most part is getting to those antennae. Move this in a way that maybe might be easier to see them. But this one, I'm going to go in here and just move it out a little bit. And then I'm going to get a needle to open the club out. Now there's usually little fingers. It's not just a little solid bean or club there. It actually has little petals that kind of come out. Those are pretty difficult to spread open, so I'm just going to leave them as a closed club in this case, and then I can go back and hydrate it, specifically just that antenna with like a water bottle or a squirt bottle, and see if I can peel those out. But that's only if it's going to be visible. I might lean him in the display on the side, and half of his body will be hard to see, the other half will be easy to see, so I may not want to spread or do too much work if I'm going to be hiding so much of it. But let's see. So he's basically done. He's got kind of a little wandering pose here where he's walking, some body parts lifted well above. And then, like I said, that will be eventually fashioned to one of the big displays I'm going to make, and there will be a branch of driftwood underneath him. And then at that point, I may take his legs, his middle pair here, and close them around the branch to give him a little bit better purchase on it. But that's it. That's a 5-horned rhinoceros beetle quick pin, and thank you for watching.